Welcome to the Tradex Foods 3-Minute Market Insight. This is Tasha Cadence, and here's the seafood news for the week of June 15th, 2020. In this week's episode, we provide a COVID-19 Pangasius market update. Flatline sales and high inventories can be used to describe the Pangasius market over the last few months throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. By the end of April 2020, the total Vietnam export value of Pangasius reached $449.5 million US, down nearly 27% compared to the same time last year. However, it is not all doom and gloom, as export figures show China, Singapore, and England seeing some positive growth since April. Let's begin with China. China remains the largest export market of Vietnam Pangasius, accounting for 24.7% of the total export value. Since the end of February, Chinese imports of Pangasius began to pick back up as workers returned back to Chinese processing plants. Although we saw a pickup, it has been reported that this was mainly for stocking purposes, as processors are worrying about potential import restrictions of goods from Vietnam due to social isolation protocols. Though many restaurants remained closed in China, the main buyers were at supermarkets and through online sales. Moving on to the USA. In March, Pangasius export value was up by 26.4% compared to March of 2019. But in April, we saw the export value in the US decrease by 20.7% compared to this time last year. As America continues to battle the spread of COVID, sales of this whitefish continue to run mainly through retail channels. The price of Pangasius has remained quite stable throughout the COVID pandemic, and North American seafood buyers are also finding success turning profits on species like Pacific cod, pollock, and chum, which are all seeing quite competitive prices in the marketplace. And finally, looking at the EU. Blockade orders in some countries such as Italy have caused sharp declines in seafood consumption and demand due to food service being closed. By the end of April, the export value of Pangasius to the EU market reached $48.3 million US, down 36% from this time in 2019. With the many complications of COVID-19 in major export markets, such as the US, the EU, and Brazil, the Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers forecast it will be difficult for Pangasius exports in Q2 to escape negative growth. In talking to Vietnamese producers, our VP of Asia Operations reports that they predict the market to recover by the end of this year, but that it's very dependent on if or when the COVID-19 pandemic ends. If this does transpire, we should see a slight uptick in the price of Pangasius throughout the supply chain. Thank you for joining me for the Tradex Foods 3-Minute Market Insight. This has been Tasha Cadence reminding you to stay safe, buy smart, and eat more seafood.